Hey up, it's Steve from Old Yorkshire Geek, and welcome to episode 14, or part 14, whatever you want to call it, of my series where I look at every episode of classic Star Trek, from the original series all the way up to Enterprise. And we're up to season 3 of Deep Space Nine, which is cool. No, we're not on Babylon 5, Wingrace. Or Lex, not on that either. Where was I? Deep Space Nine season 3, where everybody says it starts getting good. I suppose so. I don't know. It's all right. I think it doesn't start getting good until season 4, to be completely honest. But anyway, that's by the by. Right. So before we start, excuse me. Sorry, I've got a frog in my throat. Before we start, don't forget to like and subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment, hit the notification bell if you're subscribed already. Right, we're live on YouTube. Yeah, we're live on Rumble, and we're live on Twitch. Yes, we are. Right, cool. Explore the description for links such as merch. There we go. Me books, which I can get to today. Silent Predator, short horror novella about genetically engineered big cats eating people in the North Yorkshire village, Mercury Rapids, light-hearted sci-fi action adventure about UFOs and stuff. Amazon Kindle and paperback. Give 'em a whirl. Right, so season 3 of Babylon 5. See, you got me at it now, of Deep Space Nine. Remember, season 2 ended with the Dominion drawing a line in the sand and telling people from the Alpha Quadrant not to go to the Gamma Quadrant, and they destroyed a Bajoran colony and stuff that were there. If you ask me, they were blooming asking for it, weren't they? If you ask me. I mean, just going through and making colonies and not caring, just going willy-nilly into unknown space. They were asking for trouble, if you ask me. But anyway, so we'll start going through each episode, shall we? So we'll get it up. There we are. Right, we're off. We're off and running. Right, first episode is called The Search, Part 1. It's a 2-parter. And there we go, there's the station. I will not go into great detail. I know I start off going into great detail on each episode, but I won't. So I will just fly through it. There's Jake. Basically, the upshot. What's happened here? What's gone on? Has my computer frozen up? Have I frozen up? My mouse pointer's vanished. Oh, there we go. Oh, that were weird. I don't know what happened there. Hang on, something's up with this. There we go. That's better, isn't it? Right, we'll spin it on. For some reason, Dax has got a new hairdo, which doesn't last long. I think it's just has it for this episode. And I'm glad, because it's bloody awful. But anyway, Ben Sisko got recalled to Earth after what happened with the USS Odyssey, the Galaxy-class ship that the Jem'Hadar destroyed. Got recalled to Earth for debrief and all that. And he comes back with a new ship. There it is. The USS Defiant, a Defiant-class ship. NX, whatever. So he's brought that back. We learned it was designed to fight the Borg. But then the Borg threat wasn't as much as the thought. So it's now designed to fight the Dominion. And we also learned it's got a cloaking device. We're also introduced to Lieutenant Commander Michael Eddington, who's a Starfleet security officer. Odo doesn't like him. Because Odo thinks he's been shoved out of the way, because Odo is the station's chief of security of Deep Space Nine. And he kind of is. Starfleet doesn't really agree with Odo being there, but he's there. It's part of the Bajoran militia, technically, so they've got to put up with it. So Michael Eddington, played by Kenneth Marshall, who you may know from Krull, when he had hair. He played Colwyn in the movie Krull, which is amazing. I love that film. He's there as a kind of a joint chief of security, so to speak. So what they're going to do, they're going to go into... we also learn it's got a cloaking device, loaned from the Romulan government. We're going to see the Romulan lady. Oh, right, Odo obviously takes umbrage to Eddington's appearance and offers his resignation, but obviously that doesn't last long. Where is she? There she is. Can't remember her name. Just bear with me. I will look it up. But she's played by Martha Hackett, who you may know as Seska from Voyager, or she will play Seska in Voyager coming up. Martha Hackett, where are you? Where are we? Tyrrell, she plays Tyrrell, who's there to monitor the use of the cloaking device. They're only allowed to use the cloaking device in the Gamma Quadrant, not in the Alpha Quadrant, or the Beta Quadrant, I imagine. Anyway, so they're going to go in and try and find and contact the founders, the rulers of the Dominion. So that's what they're going to do. So off they go. Odo decides he doesn't want to be resigned anymore, so he says he wants to go with them. So off they go. Quark goes with them as well because they want to get in touch with the Coroner, which is one of them, because the Ferengi were buying or selling them buying Tulaberry wine off them. So, and we learn that they're part, the Coroner, if you pronounce it, are part of the Dominion. So they're going to try and tell them how to get in touch with the founders, but they don't know. They say it's where we learned about the Vorta, although we haven't seen them yet. But we have, but we don't know that they are Vorta. We learned that all their contact with the Dominions through the Vorta, and then you do what the Vorta tell you to do, or they'll send the Jem'Hadar, and then you die. So anyway, so off they go. Quark stays behind, and off they go, looking for the founders. So they head to where the Coroner send them, but they get attacked by Jem'Hadar ships in a minute. And Odo sees a thing. He sees a nebula. He says, "Oh, what's that?" And he gets drawn to this nebula, the Omarian Nebula. So he spends all day looking at that. Then they get attacked. There we go, by the Jem'Hadar, and Odo there we go, saves what's her face, Kira, in the battle. Bundles her in a shuttle. I don't know whether there's much room on the Defiant for a shuttle bay, but there is. But anyway, and off they go to the Omarian Nebula. There they go, and they land on a planet that's got all this. There's the shuttle. It's more of a shuttle pod, isn't it? I think. Land on this just one island in this ocean, this copper-coloured ocean. So anyway, and this is where we learn. We see that Odo is one of the founders. It's more of a Michael than a shuttle. Don't get it. You've got, again, over my head. I'm sure it's hilarious. So here we go. There we go. And say, "Welcome home." That's where we see. There we go. Salome Jens. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. As Michael Bay, Shuttle Bay. Tell you, I can't think laterally. It's just it's too out on a tangent for me. I wouldn't have thought of Michael Bay in a million years. I'd never have got that. But anyway, Salome Jens as the lead founder of the lead changeling, and for some reason I have looked it up, why they appear like Odo, because we learn that they can take any shape they want later on in this season. We learn they can take any shape they want, and they can perfectly mimic any life form, because Odo struggles with humanoid faces and stuff, doesn't he? Although he can do hair, but anyway. I think the consensus is, there's no definite answer, but the consensus seems to be that at first they appear as Odo appears to make him feel more comfortable, so he can recognise them as one of his own. But then later on it's suggested that they might appear like that to mock him, to show how not a good changeling he is. But anyway, that's by the by. Anyway, so that's the end of part 1 of the search. Where she says, "Welcome home," she says, does the female changeling, and she's going to be in this all the way up to the end of Deep Space Nine now. She's in she's been knocking about for years, as Salome Jens. We saw her in Next Generation in The Chase. She played that alien in The Chase. You know, the aliens that seeded the galaxy. She also in, I think was she in The Searchers way back in the 50s? I say she's been around for donkey's years. Anyway, so moving on to the next one. Where's my controls gone? I'm going to have to get them back, aren't I? What button is it? Oh, there we go. There we go. Moving on to episode 2 or whatever, part 2. Right. Full screen it. There. So, here we are. There we go. See, Odo and Kira are on this weird planet of the Founders, where the Founders just live in the sea. Or the sea is them. So how many is there? Is there like gazillions of them? I don't know. I don't know how big this planet is. But that's it. Odo doesn't know whether to stay with them or not, and then he does a join in, and then he's like, oh, it's all wonderful. But anyway, then we learn that there are survivors from the Defiant, and they managed to get back to Deep Space Nine. There we go, they get rescued, and they managed to get back to Deep Space Nine. Meanwhile, Odo, they're still blathering on about staying, and is changing into stuff. And pardon me, she's happy as Kira that he's found his people, but she's got to try and contact Deep Space Nine, to tell them that she's okay. Anyway, they get back with a weird haircut. And there we go. We learn that the Federation is signed a peace treaty with the Dominion. And there's going to be like a garrison of Jem'Hadar on Deep Space Nine. So obviously that doesn't go down well with Cisco, but it's Admiral Nechayev causing her trouble. Where is she? There she is, causing a bother. Kira detects like an energy signature somewhere on this island, and then she finds a door. She says, "Oh, what would the changeling want with the door?" But she can't find a way to open it. We learn that the Romulans have been left out of the peace talks, so the Romulan says, it will be war if we're not allowed in, and all that stuff. That was Cisco getting angry about what's going on. The Romulan Tyrrell, Martha Hackett, she gets killed by the Jem'Hadar. And it's all going to hell in a handbasket in the Alpha Quadrant. Meanwhile, Odo gets into this room and hang on, where are we? There we go. Opens that up, and I think we find. Oh, it's not going to show us yet, is it? Well, he opens that. He's opening that door, but we're not seeing what's inside yet. Then they have a battle against the Jem'Hadar. They're going to take the Defiant, or is it a Defiant or is it a runabout? It's a runabout. They take a runabout. They're going to collapse the wormhole so that no more Jem'Hadar can come through. The Dominion will be stuck on their side of the galaxy. So that's what they're going to do. Meanwhile, Odo and Kira find there's Jem'Hadar on that planet that they're on with the Founders. Well, they don't know that they're Founders. They just know that the Changelings. But this is now that they found that the Changelings are the Founders. They are the Dominion. They've created it. And all that stuff. And everybody from the Defiant, or the main cast from the Defiant, hooked up to these machines, and it were all an illusion what were happening. It were all in their minds. And the Dominion wanted to see what had happened if the Dominion got a toehold in the Alpha Quadrant. But so they're wondering what they're going to do with them. And the Founder says, well, we'll have to release them because Odo wants to stay with them, and no changeling has ever harmed another. Got to remember that for the last episode of this season. So they let them go, and off they go back to Deep Space Nine, and that's the end of the search. And it's all right. It's not too bad. That little two-parter. We learn about the great threats now that the Dominion poses. So there we go. See, all there, off they go. Beam back up the Defiant's in orbit. Even though it got pummeled, apparently it's fine. Is the rest of the crew up there fixing it? I've no idea, but they go back. Anyway, so right, off they go. Let's go home, she says. Right, so there we go. That's it. pretty good. Pretty good two-parter of the search, part 1 and 2. So there we go. Next up, here we go. House of Quark, I think. Let me just double check. Yes, the House of Quark. This is where Quark gets married to a Klingon lady after he kills her husband. There they are, being fed up in the bar. Because apparently business isn't very good because of the Dominion threat. But this Klingon's here, being very drunk, and then he demands more ale and all that stuff. And then he gets into a fight with Quark, and then pulls out his, whatever it's called, his dagger, and then just they have a struggle, and then he falls on his own blade and dies. So, oh, look, he's dead. Notice these Klingons don't have pink blood. I think that was just for the films, wasn't it? And Lower Decks. Anyway, by the way, it's still Siddig Elfadil in season 3. Is Alexander Siddig. I think season 4 he becomes Alexander Siddig. I think Dr. Bashir. Anyway, right. So there we go. He's quite dead. So his wife comes a knocking. Well, first his brother comes, threatening Quark, and oh, there he is, threatening Quark. Says, "Did they die a honourable death?" Oh, yes, he did. Right, fair enough. And then his wife arrives. By the way, the B story kind of is O'Brien trying to please Keiko, because the school's closed and everything, because most of the families on the station have left because of the Dominion threat and all that stuff. So the school's closed. So he's trying to do things to make her happy. And so anyway, where are we? Anyway, then there she is. She arrives, his wife, the lovely, I've forgotten the name. Grilka. There we go. Grilka arrives. For some reason, I really like Klingon women. I don't know why. I'm a perv. She arrives and she says he's gonna marry. Quark's got to marry her so she can take control of the house of whatever it's called. So that's what they. So they take Quark back to Kronos, the Klingon home world. He marries her. Then he's got to fight the brother. She doesn't even have windows on her outfit. No, she don't know. That was just a bit of a pity. She's no Duras sister, is she? But anyway. So he goes back and he's got to fight the brother to the death and all that. We see Gowron as well. Gowron presiding over, trivial matters like this. It's like President Trump dealing with some minor court case, isn't it? It's weird, but anyway, never mind. It's always good to see Robert O'Reilly as Gowron. So he's got to fight him, but he says, "I'm not going to fight you. You'll just have to kill me." And then he gets discommended as the brother. And Grilka gets control of the house, and then she divorces him by slapping him. And there we go. That's the end. That's the end of that. So it's not the House of Quark for very long. And Keiko, is it this way? She's going to go off to Bejor and do some like botany stuff. She's going to take Molly off to Bejor for months and months or something. So there we go. It's okay. And there we go. That's pretty much the end. Look. Pretty much the end. It's all right. It's House of Quark. It's not too bad. Hello, Adam Gamer. Am I on Discord at all? Not really. No. I have been on it, but I don't really do anything on Discord. I've opened a new server on there. Oh, we'll have to give us a link. I'll have a look. So yes, House of Quark's not too bad. It's all right. I'm not a huge fan of Ferengi episodes, but I must admit the ones in this season I did quite enjoy. But that one's a decent one. So there we go. We'll move on to the next episode. We'll rattle through this season. Pause. Which one's next? Equilibrium. Or is it Equilibrium? This is the one where I think we found out about Duran, one of Dax's former hosts who were hidden away. She doesn't know anything about him because something's amiss, and she's not well for whatever reason. So they take her back to Trill. I think she starts having like hallucinations or something like that, something along those lines. So they take her back to Trill on the Defiant. So they've got a ship now, because people were complaining about Deep Space Nine, saying, "Oh, it's all set on the station and all that, and they don't get out and about, like on TNG and all that, in the original series." So they give them a ship, but they had ships, they had the runabouts, they could go places in the runabouts, but now they've got a proper starship called the Defiant, which they just use willy-nilly, but they're not allowed to use the cloaking device, except in the Gamma Quadrant. Anyway, right, so they've gone to Trill to try and figure out what's up with it, and this is where we find out about Duran, who wasn't a very good host. Turned out he was a murderer, so they kind of suppressed his memories or whatever. And so they get to the bottom of it, and it turns out that something like most people on Trill, the consensus is, or the people are told on Trill, that only a few people can become, host to a symbiont, and that there's a rigorous screening process, and it's a great honour. But then they found out that something like a tenth, like 1 in 1,000 or 1 in 10,000 people can become a host, and they found out something like 10% of the population can become hosts. And when Duran became Dax's host, it was all a big mistake, and they tried to cover it up, but obviously they get to the bottom of it, and it's all sorted out in the end. Not my favourite episode, although we do see Duran again, sort of later on in the season. But it's fine. Oh, there. Well, I think that's supposed to be Duran, but she's seeing him in the symbiont pool. But anyway, there we go. She comes to terms with her murderous former host, Duran. Because she's hungry like a wolf. So there we go. Yeah. It's a whatever episode, Moving on. Yeah, I'd skip it, If I just wanted to, just watch a bit of Deep Space Nine, I'd skip that one. Because I'm a misery. Next up. It's Dax again, look. By the way, I still do think she's one of the most beautiful women in all creation, Terry Farrell. It's blooming astonishingly gorgeous. But anyway, next up, Second Skin. All right, this one, right. This is the one with, what's the face? Kira. Kira gets kidnapped by Cardassians. There she is. She gets kidnapped by Cardassians. Hang on, I'm going to show it. Oh, somebody's watching her there. Is it going to show it? No, not yet. So we'll go straight to the credits. There we go. She gets kidnapped by Cardassians and taken to Cardassia. There is something else going on. I can't remember what. I don't care. But anyway. There we go. She ends up on Cardassia and is altered to look like a Cardassian, hence the second skin of the title. But they're saying she was a Cardassian to begin with. She was a Cardassian agent planted in the Bajoran resistance, and that she's the daughter of some high-ranking Cardassian chap. But obviously she doesn't believe it. This is his daughter, a legate, something like that. But obviously she won't bend to their will. They're saying, "You are my daughter," and they're saying, "You are his daughter." And she said, "I'm not. I'm Bajoran." Anyway, I think Odo is investigating it along with what's his face? There we go, with Garak, to find out what's happened to Kira. But anyway, long story short, they figure it all out. And then they head over to Cardassia. In the Defiant, I think they're pretending that their ship is a Cardassian ship. Oh, it's another another racer's ship, and not the Defiant. You know, they've altered their warp core frequency or whatever, you know, so they don't look like the Defiant. Anyway, so off they go. But she doesn't know. She doesn't know who she is or anything like that. Oh, Josh Temple's here. Look, Josh Temple's here. Harpoon at the ready to get them Jem'Hadar savages. Anyway, so this chap appears. He's part of there's Cardassian, not resistance as such, but I suppose it is sort of. They're trying to, you know, make Cardassia a better. Not all Cardassians are evil, basically. That's what they're saying. They've altered their warp core. Pray they don't alter it further. Yeah, whatever. But he's going to lurk because he's at work. Is Josh always at work? Is Josh. Anyway, so they learn, you know, that she is Major Kira. She's Bajoran and all that, and the rescuer and the baddies is from the Obsidian Order, and it were all his doing. They were trying to uncover get to the resistance, the Cardassian resistance. They were trying to work out who the leaders were and all that. So they were trying to trick them into showing themselves, but it didn't work, and they are foiled. And the bad guy gets killed. There we go. Garak shoots him. There we go. Vaporizes him. And there we go. And there we go. She's put back to normal and all that, and everything's lovely. Blah blah blah. And she smiles at him, and she realises not all Cardassians are evil, even though they strip mined the planet, murdered millions. But you know, she soon got over that, hasn't she? So there we go. It's an okay episode. It's okay. It's not too bad. Not too bad. It's interesting. It's an interesting episode. That's how I'd describe it. But moving on. What's next? We're on the promenade, look, which is the next episode. The Abandoned. Is this the one? Can't remember. Is this the one with the Jem'Hadar, or is this the one with the Changeling? I can't remember. I've forgotten. I've slept since I watched this one. I'm going to have to go through it. Yes, Jake's in love with a Darbo girl called Marder, but for some reason they pronounce it Marta, but it's Marder. It's got a D in it. But anyway, there she is. I can't imagine why he's in love with her. Anyway, you know, it's got lovely eyes. But there they are. Look. I don't know why she's fallen in love with him. Maybe he's got a massive willy. I don't know. But anyway. And she's back again, this freighter captain. I've no idea what race she is, but anyway, never mind. She's got a ship. She's found a ship salvaged a ship in the Gamma Quadrant, and she's selling it to Quark. That's it. That's what she's doing. There we go for, I don't know, 10 bars of latinum or something like that. And they find something in there. Yes, it's got a baby in it. Yes, it's the Jem'Hadar baby in it. Is it going to show it? Or is it just... I think we can just hear it cooing. I don't think it's got subtitles as this, has it? No, it hasn't. Turns out it's a baby. Right, so... There it is. It's a little ickle baby. But they don't know what species it is. But it turns out it's growing really quick. And it turns out it's a Cardassian... I'm not saying Cardassian. A Jem'Hadar baby. I'm going to see it grows up really fast and is super intelligent, learns to speak really quickly. There it is, grown up, and all that. Odo has got some new quarters. Because remember, he just used to go to sleep in his bucket at the back of his office, but now he's got quarters to slither about in. So that's that. Because he needs quarters now because he's going to have a house guest with the Jem'Hadar. Because the Jem'Hadar genetically engineered to think that the changelings are gods, so he can't help but obey Odo's commands. Apparently that purple-haired woman is a Boslik. Oh, right, okay. Fair enough. She's fit, whatever she is. One good thing about Rick Berman knew how to hire women. Jake's an artist, funny, and on African descent. Sure, you can get most. That's true. Probably got a gift of the gab as well. Plus, his dad's the station commander, which I'm sure brings benefits. Anyway, right, so Odo's got to keep control of this young Jem'Hadar. I don't know if they give him a name, I can't remember. Oh, Marda goes to dinner with Jake and Ben. She's not just a dabo girl, she's clever. I think she goes off to do like some course or something, or she goes like university or something. She goes off somewhere. We don't see her much, she buggers off. Anyway, right, so I can't remember what happens with him. Do they send him? I think they send him back, don't they, to the Gamma Quadrant, and that's all they can do, isn't it? Odo takes him back because they can't control him. I think they've got to send him back. So that's what they do. So off he goes. It takes him back to the Gamma Quadrant. Takes him back to his own people, and that's about it, really. And then he comes back. There's Odo. I don't think it shows us. No, they just go. It doesn't show him handing him over or anything. Maybe just dumps him on a Jem'Hadar, on a world where they know that there's a Jem'Hadar there. I don't know, but anyway, never mind. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, whatever. The person that plays the grown-up Jem'Hadar is called, is it Bumper Williams or something like that? I'm sure he's super famous. Maybe he is. I don't know. Let me check. Bumper Robinson. That's it. Bumper Robinson. Just a cool name. Oh, Larry Clarence Bumper Robinson II. Right. What's he done? He's best known for his voice roles as Damas in Jack 3, Bumblebee and Blitzwing on Transformers Animated, and Falcon in various media. Oh, right. Is that as much as he's done? Fair enough. No, he's done other stuff as well. Oh, he played Zamis in Enemy Mine. The baby, the child of Jariba Shigan in Enemy Mine. I thought that name rung a bell. When I saw Bumper Robinson, I thought, I'm sure I've seen that somewhere before. I've seen it on Enemy Mine. Wingrace says this is Odo's belt era. You know what? I've never paid that much attention. Did he wear a belt in this season? I've not paid attention to that. But anyway, it's okay. It's okay that the abandoned episode. Not the best, but it's all right. I don't think there's any terrible episodes in this season. I think my least favourite is coming up, and it's the two-parter past tense, and I'm not a big fan of that. The one with the Bell Riots in. But all the other episodes are pretty good. Not the season, only a few episodes, I think. All right. I wasn't paying any attention to his clothing. Anyway, moving on. What's next? Where are we? Civil defence is this one. This is where they inadvertently activate a Cardassian station lockdown system when they're faffing about on the station. Within one of the old ore processing centres. I don't know what they're using it for now. They're going to convert it to something else. I don't know what, but anyway, obviously they don't process ore anymore on Terok Nor / Deep Space Nine. So I presume they're going to change it to something else. But Jake is helping O'Brien out with that because I don't know. Has he decided he doesn't want to be in Starfleet yet? I can't remember. But anyway, he's helping O'Brien. But see where they trigger the system where the computer thinks that there's been a breakout. They trigger like the Cardassian defence system left over. You'd thought they got rid of it all, wouldn't you? Thought they purged all the Cardassian programs and stuff. But they thought they got rid of Cardassian Windows, got rid of that, and installed Starfleet's Linux or something. You'd have thought so, wouldn't you? But anyway, they haven't. And it triggers that and starts a lockdown, on the station, and we start seeing Guldukat doing his. How long does it show it? Like doing obviously a pre-recorded message. Hang on, is it going to show it? Never mind. A pre-recorded message saying, Bajoran workers, go back to work or we'll kill you, basically. You have 3 minutes. All that. There he is. Oh, I saw him then. There he is. Appears on the monitor saying, go back to work or we will start murdering you. Because everybody's all cut off from everybody else now, Shutters have closed and all that. Bulkheads have locked down and all that. Transporters are not working, etc. Comms is down. They can't communicate with anybody, so they have to use their cleverness to get round it. And Guldukat ends up coming to the station himself because he was, he got a message saying that the Bajoran workers were revolting on Terok Nor, so he came to investigate. And but he gets trapped as well because the computer doesn't realise it's him or whatever. But so he's trapped with them as well. But obviously they figure it out and shut it down, and everything's all sorted out in the end, and it's all right. It's all right. It's quite exciting. It's good where they've got that. It replicates. I'll show it. And in ops, what have they got a replicator in ops for? Just for getting cups of coffee and stuff. There we go. Replicates this machine that just starts shooting at them willy nilly. There we go. Whatever. It's okay. It's a fun episode. A fun episode is this one. But you'd have thought, you think of Starfleet have been all, on the ball and getting stuff done and working and getting everything right. But obviously they just overlooked that vital thing that the Cardassians left behind. You'd have thought they got rid of everything, wouldn't you? But obviously not. But it's an okay episode, is that one. But they do suss it out in the end. Yeah. But anyway, why couldn't that in season 2 where something merges with the computer, doesn't it? And O'Brien, like an alien life force or something, merges with the computer of Deep Space Nine, doesn't it? And O'Brien has got to keep it occupied. And he's got to write like a subroutine to keep it occupied, so it doesn't destroy them all. So have they got rid of that? I've no idea. But you'd have thought, that might have wondered what were going on. We'll never hear from it again. But anyway, so there we go. That was Civil Defence. A fun episode. I quite enjoyed it. I've seen parts of the station that we don't normally see, like the ore processing things and all that stuff. We never see. I think I've mentioned this before. We never see I know it's a station. It's not a starship, but it must have something like power centre, like an engine room. We never see that, do we? Do we? I don't know. But you think Chief O'Brien will spend all his time in the reactor room or whatever it's called. It'll have something, won't it, to power the station. But don't know. Anyway, moving on. Right, what's this one? Which is this one? We're in a garden. Meridian. This one. Yes. If that looks familiar, I did look it up. Have I got pictures? Did I do pictures? What are you doing over there? I can't remember if I did pictures. Just bear with me. I don't think I did. Or maybe I did. Hang on, I'm looking at the wrong things. No, I don't think I did. I did comparison. I thought I did a comparison thing. This is the same shot of the same place. Remember in the pilot episode, Hang on, Wind Grace is saying, I think we see a schematic of a fusion reactor, but never physically. There we go. It'd be nice to see, Deep Space Nine's engine room at some point, wouldn't it? But anyway, maybe we do. I don't know. But anyway, if this looks familiar, remember in the very first episode, or the first episode, the second episode, or whatever, or the pilot episode of Deep Space Nine, Emissary, when they first went into the wormhole, and they went into this, there were a blinding flash of light, and when they step out of the runabout, from Dax's perspective, they're in a beautiful garden, but from Cisco's perspective, they're on like a cliff face, and there's all thunder and lightning going on. But this is the same place, obviously, where they shot Dax's garden. Because I did a comparison, it is exactly the same place. So there we go. But I don't know what we're seeing this for. Hang on, are we in the middle of? Oh, we're in the middle of the episode. What's it showing that for? So there. Anyway, right. So in this episode, I forgot what it was called. Meridian. I've forgotten already. Yes, Meridian. They find a planet. So is it in the Gamma Quadrant or is it on our side? I can't remember. But they find a planet that's a bit like Brigadoon. The Scottish village that appears every 100 years or whatever. There was a film about it, wasn't there? It's a bit like that. So is it going to show it there? Hang on, how are we? A planet, there we go. A planet appears. There we go. Called Meridian. And I bet it appears every, I don't know, is it 60 years or whatever? And then it phases out into like a non-corporeal realm. But there's people live on it, as we'll see. There we go. They get hailed. And the people of Meridian, they exist for X amount of time as corporeal entities, and they enjoy it, being corporeal, and then they go and be non-corporeal for a while. But anyway, the gist of this episode is that basically Dax falls in love with this fella, and she wants to stay behind. There's the other thing as well. Is it him? She wants to stay behind because she's in love with this other fella. She wants to go with them to become non-corporeal. But here we see Jeffrey Combs playing an alien. Is it this fella that wants a holosuite program of Major Kira? Is it him? Is it that one? I think it is. So he wants Quark to create a holodeck, a holosuite program of Major Kira, because he loves her. As much as Dax loves this fella. Anyway, obviously that doesn't go as planned, and that's the famous thing where we see Quark as the woman. We'll get to that. They're falling in love. Look. They're going to find a way so that Dax can stay with them. So that's what they're going to do. Anyway, right. So there we go. She's going to stay, and they're all, saying, "Oh, I'm going to miss you, old man," and all that, and we're all crying and stuff. It's all lovely. Meanwhile, on Deep Space Nine, he's going to go into the the holosuite. Thinks he's going to see Major Kira, but there we see some shapely legs and a shapely bod, because it's Nana Visitor, who is, I must admit, she's very shapely. Her uniform that she wears doesn't do her justice, except when you see her in stuff like that. But anyway, but it's not. It's Quark. Oh dear. So obviously, she's her and Odo, I think, changed the program. So he's not happy. He's Jeffrey Combs. But anyway, right. So she's getting ready to beam down to Meridian, just because it's getting ready to go back to be non-corporeal. But something goes wrong. There we go. Because she's not from there or whatever. There's a techno-babble explanation. And the planet basically disappears, but she doesn't. And she can't breathe, and she ends up basically being in space. So they beam her out of there. They just get her out of there just in time. So she's fed up now. because she'll not see the man she loves for 60 odd years or however long it's supposed to be. So she's fed up. But, she'll have to get over it. But she's sad. And it ends with her being sad because she's lost the man she loves. Don't worry, she finds a Klingon in a bit, in a season or two. So there we go. That's Meridian. Yeah. I didn't give a monkeys about Dax and her chap. The funny thing was the Jeffrey Combs, Kira Hollersweet thing. That was the main thing of that episode, in my opinion. That was the interesting part. Don't care about Dax wanting to stay on a wibbly wobbly planet. Who gives a monkeys? Next. Dax again. Look, she's everywhere. But she is astonishingly gorgeous. Defiant is this one. This is the one with Will Riker. Or is it? Anywho. So. My son's shouting. Is this the one with... Yes, this is the one with... Kira's overworked. And she's been snappy with everybody. And here we go. Hang on. She snaps at Dr. Bashir, and he says, "When did you last have a day off?" And she says, "I don't know." She says, "It's obviously been too long," so he relieves her of duty for the night. He says, "Have a night off." So he gives her a Holosweet program in quarks and a Jumja stick and a drink and all that. And he says, have a nice time for at least 8 hours, basically. So she says, "Okay, whatever." And then we see... Oh, for Pete's sake. There we go. It's Will Riker. Special guest star, William Riker. And all the audience applaud. If it were like Friends, they'd all be going, "Woo!" Wouldn't they? But it isn't. So, cool. Will Riker's on Deep Space Nine. But, and he gets on with Kira. Something, is she infatuated with him? I don't know, but she says they talk for 3 hours, but it's fine. They're just friends and all that stuff. And here he comes, and he says, "Can you show me the Defiant?" And she says, "Yeah, of course I can." So there they are. Look, going to show her the Defiant, but it's a trick. Chief O'Brien's there. He says, "Oh, Commander, nice to see you." He says, "I've got nothing to say to you, O'Brien." I didn't understand this bit. Has Riker and O'Brien fallen out before? I don't know. But he says, "I've nothing to say to you, O'Brien. I think you know why." And he goes, "Oh, okay," and goes. So unless it's just like a red herring, I don't know. But off he goes. He just wanted him out of there. Anyway, turns out it's not Will Riker, it's Tom Riker, and he phases, he stuns at Kira, beams his own people aboard. It turns out he's joined the Maquis, because he's naughty. No, he was using it as a ploy because O'Brien would be the only one to be able to tell he was not Will. Maybe so, I don't know. I think it was just to get him off the ship, wasn't it? But anyway, they steal the Defiant because they're good. This kind of leads into things that are down the road. They steal the Defiant. They find out that it's Thomas Riker, not Will Riker. Pardon me. And that he's joined the Maquis. Is my camera still on? Because it just said camera off there for a minute. So they get Guldikat in, and he's going to go and attack Cardassian ships and all that stuff. But it turns out that's not really what he's out to do, although he does destroy some Cardassian ships. But he learns that they're building the stuff going on in the Arias system, something like that. They're up to something of the Cardassians. So apparently they're building a fleet in the Arias system. That's where he's had word of that. So he heads there, and then we see that there's loads of Cardassian ships there. We learn that it's something to do with the Obsidian Order's in control of the Arias system, but the Obsidian Order's not supposed to have ships. It's going to show them. Where are we? Have we gone to? There we go. see that the Keldon class, although they look exactly the same as Gala class, I don't know what the difference is. But got Keldon class Cardassian warships or whatever they're called that have come out of the Arias system. So it's a standoff. So they agree that the crew is going to be Tom's crew will be handed over to Starfleet, but he's got to go to a Cardassian prison and all that. So he agrees to that, but what's going on in the Arias system, we will return to that in a later episode. So anyway, so that was a fun episode with Defiant. Nice to see Jonathan Frakes back as a Riker, but a good fun episode is that one. And as I said, it's the sowing seeds for what's to come later in the season. The fleet that the Cardassians are building in the Arias system with the Keldon class ships. And we learn later in the season there's even more to them than meets the eye. But anyway, so there we go. So that's Defiant. A good episode. One of the good ones of the season, in my opinion. Next. What's next? Fascination. Oh, this is a Luxana Troy episode. Not a big fan of Luxana Troy episodes, although they're not too bad on Deep Space. They're not as bad. The Deep Space Nine Luxana Troy episodes are not as bad as the TNG ones, in my opinion. But I wasn't a big fan of this episode. Anyway, starting his trend of being in every Trek show until Discovery ended the tradition. He was behind the camera though, wasn't he, in Discovery? Anyway, right. I think Jake split up with Marta, however you pronounce it in this one. I think. Let me check. She's sodded off. I think it's this one. No. Does it say? I don't say here, but yeah, I think Marta's off somewhere. She's gone off to do something. So he's fed up. But anyway, they're all getting ready to celebrate some Bajoran festival, and Luxana Troy is there, in a diplomatic capacity. But then suddenly everybody starts falling in love with other people, and weird stuff's happening, and all that, and they don't know what's going on. And it turns out it's because of Luxana Troy. She's got something up with her. Xanthi fever, that's it. She's got Xanthi fever, which means she's projecting her not emotions, but her passions onto other people, and that's so they're all falling in love with each other. So that Dax falls in love with Cisco and all that, and Jake falls in love with Kira, and Kira falls in love with somebody else. But yeah. So it's I don't know, a slightly comedic episode, I suppose. But if I were, I only thinks of Dax as old man and he's one of his oldest friends. But I wouldn't resist very much, to be completely honest. I mean, would you? I wouldn't. But anyway, yeah, and they learn that it's all down to what's the face, to Luxana Troy, and so they sort it all out, and they're all a little bit embarrassed. Oh my, Quark's fallen in love with Keiko, but anyway, they sort it all out, and everything's okay in the end. She's sodding off back to Bajor with the kid, and there we go. Yeah, cool. Whatever. It's not a terrible episode, but it's nice to see her, isn't it? It's nice to see Majel Barrett Roddenberry back. But as I said, I'm not a huge fan of Luxana Troy episodes, but never mind. Winger says, he's gotten to get with her in the Mirror Universe, so all news to him. That's coming up, actually. He hasn't done it yet in this. He hasn't been to the mirror universe yet. That's upcoming. So yes. I think in that episode, we'll get to it. Right. Anyway, so next up. Hang on, where are we? I don't know. As I said, I think it might be my least favourite episode of this season, and it's the two-parter, past tense. Two-parters are usually supposed to be really good, aren't they? But I'm not a fan of this, and I don't know why. I just can't get into it. It's a time travel one. So the Defiant's gone back to Earth. How long does it take them? I know the Defiant's fast. It's like a warp 8 thing, but even then, it should take 8. They're way over. It gets me a bit mad sometimes because they forget in Star Trek, don't they, that you've got anal fans who think about this stuff. It was in Star Trek 6. There were 1,000. So one of the benefits of being 1,000 light years from Federation headquarters, from Starfleet headquarters or whatever. It'd take them a year or over a year to get 1,000 light years, wouldn't it? At maximum warp. But anyway, never mind. I got to Earth super quick. Yes, they did. They got to Earth super quick. They were on the Romulan border, weren't they? They got to Earth like before the Battle of Sector 00 wouldn't even begun. But it were underway, wasn't it? That's it. The storytelling, I suppose you got to make sacrifices, I suppose, but it is a bit annoying. But never mind. Anyway, they've gone back to Earth. Can't remember why. They've been recalled to Earth for something, and I've forgotten why. I'm going to have to look up, see if it tells us. Oh, heck of yardy. What they gone back to Earth for? It doesn't say. I don't know why they're on Earth. No, it doesn't say. They've gone back to Earth for something. I'm sure Windgrace knows. And they beam down, and something happens. There's some power surge, or something happens, and during transport, and they end up. I don't know why Quark's there. Oh, he's on the blower from the station. I can't remember. And they beam down, and something's happened, and they're beamed into the past. Windgrace, meeting at Starfleet. Don't remember what it's about. Probably about the Dominion, I imagine. But I don't know. But anyway, they beam down. It turns out they've gone back to the year 2024. So it was last year. They've gone back there. And there's Dick Miller. Yay! He plays like a security guard. They're in San Francisco in 2024. It's Dr. Bashir, Cisco, and Dax. And Cisco and Bashir are together, but Dax has beamed somewhere away from them. And she gets rescued by a chap. But Cisco and Bashir end up getting put in a sanctuary district. Because they've no ID, and it's the law in 2024. It's kind of where they put people, homeless people, or people that haven't got a job, that sort of thing. They put them in sanctuary districts. It's supposed to be like a tent city, like they've got now in California, haven't they? Tent cities, particularly in Los Angeles. But anyway, that's it. That's basically it. She ends up with this rich fella who obviously, I can imagine why he's helping her. But he seems a nice chap. So they basically go to the benefits agency. I don't know, what do you call it? What do you call it in America? Welfare. They've gone to the welfare place. And anyway, the upshot of this episode is they find out that it's a week or so before the Bell riots. Where Gabriel Bell, people are taken hostage in one of these sanctuary districts, and Gabriel Bell is one of the hostage takers, but he protects the hostages saves them, protects them with his own life, and then it forced like a transformation in the American political system, which would, reverberate down through the years. But I don't see how much difference it'd make, because World War III is going to happen soon, isn't it? But anyway, never mind. What about the bit with the kill all the lawyers and all that stuff that was Q showed us in TNG? But anyway, I don't know. They're a bit hazy sometimes with Earth history, aren't they? But of the 21st century. But anyway, but Gabriel Bell gets killed. Is it this way? Yeah, that's Gabriel Bell. He gets killed by one of these bad guys. And basically, Ben Sisko's going to assume his identity in the second part, because the hostages are taken. There we go. And he's going to... Oh, stop it. He's got mad hair again. And Ben Sisko's going to... basically, they'll say, but Gabriel Bell died. Obviously, they don't show us what Gabriel Bell looked like. There's no... Is there no record of what he looked like? But anyway, I don't know. But the upshot is, he does his job. They've got to make sure that Gabriel Bell dies and saves the hostages, because the police or whatever are going to storm the building. So look, and it's what's his face? Clint Howard. There we go. In another Star Trek role. But anyway, they have this thing with O'Brien and Kira. They keep beaming down. They try and recreate the conditions so they can beam to the same place or the same time as the others to try and rescue them. But they keep going to the wrong places and wrong time and stuff, and it's quite annoying, to be honest. But anyway. They sort it all out in the end. Like I said, the police burst in and they save the hostages and all that stuff. And but remember, Gabriel Bell's supposed to die, but they sort it out because he says, "Give me your ID card that he'd given him." And he gives him Gabriel Bell's ID card. I'll put it on one of the dead bodies, so they'll think Gabriel Bell is dead. But then that doesn't make sense because they show a photo of him at the end, because they go back, it's sorted out, and they go back, the timeline goes back to normal, or does it? Would they even know? I don't know. As I said, every Star Trek's in its own, every episode of Star Trek is in its own timeline, particularly the timeline, the time travel episodes. But anyway, there we go. It shows a photo of Gabriel Bell. There we go. And it just happens to be Sisko, but would it be? Because he said, we're going to put the ID on one of the dead bodies. Maybe we're all burnt or something. I don't know. Maybe it was a headless corpse. I've no idea. But for some reason, it looks just like Ben Sisko. Crap. I didn't like that. I genuinely don't like that episode. I just don't think it's very good. Sorry. Bit me lip then. I'm sorry, I just don't. I don't. So give that one a miss. Although it's probably a fan favourite, knowing me. Because I don't like it. Everybody else thinks it's amazing. But I don't. I think it's poo. Moving on. Right, what we up to now? Life support. This is Vedit Berail. Oh, this is a sad one. Yes, it is a fan favourite. Typical. Bloody fans. No, nothing. Anyway, right. So, yes. He's got over Marta, whatever the hell the name is. And now he fancies this child, this Jake. He's had this gorgeous Dabo girl with huge bazongas, and now he's bloody kid here. Pardon me. So he's going to go on a date with her, but then Nog invites himself along, so she invites her friend, so they have a double date. And it all goes wrong. But anyway, Kai Winds come to the station, There's like a ship in distress. There's been some accident or whatever on this ship, and it's got the Kai on it, and Vedek Bareil is on it, and he's injured. There we go. Vedek Bareil is badly injured. But Kai, no, yeah, she's Kai now, isn't she? But Kai wins. Okay, evil as ever. She's a brilliant villain. I love Kai Wynn. She's deliciously evil. She is a duplicitous. And she just tries. She tries to hide all her evil deeds in. She says it's for the Bajoran people and all that. But she's terrible. She's doing a peace treaty. She's working out a peace treaty with Cardassia, and Cardassia's going to pay, reparations and all that stuff for the occupation. Blah blah blah. But Bareil is needed because he's the one that's really behind it all. He's done all the hard work. She's taking all the credit. But Bareil is not well, and he drops dead. But for some reason, he comes back to life again. Something to do with the radiation that happened, in the accident. So they managed to bring him back to life as some sort of Frankenstein's monster. There he is. But they start replacing parts of his brain and stuff like that to keep him alive. So he can keep advising Kai Wynn about these negotiations that she's doing with these Cardassians. There's Jake and Nog. Doing this double date. Look, they've stuck a chip on his brain because he's like one of them Elon Musk people. Anyway, but he's willing to do it, for the good of the Bajoran people. But Kira sees right through Kai Wynn. Says, if these she needs, says you need Bareil alive because if these talks fail, you can blame him. He can take all the slings and arrows, and you can wash your hands of him. But if it's a success, you can take all the credit. And she's like, I'm doing it for Bajor, child, and all that. But anyway, so the upshot of this episode basically is, Nog and Jake fall out because Nog's basically a Ferengi. And he says Ferengi type things to this girl, saying, cut up my food, because Ferengi treat females differently. So they fall out about that, but then they make friends again later. But Bareil's kind of doomed in this episode. They keep replacing parts. They keep saying, I've got to do these negotiations. I have to help. It's for Bajor. And ends up being too much for him and he dies. But the negotiations are a success and the treaty is signed. But, it costs Bareil his life and all that. And there we go. And he dies and it's all sad. And she's saying, add more implants, bring him back. But he says it's too late, it wouldn't be the same Bareil. And it's all sad and we're all crying, look. And that's the end. And she blames Kai Wynn, which she's got every right to. But there we go. So there's a peace treaty between Bajor and Cardassia now. So there we go. A good episode is that one. A good episode. Because it's interesting. It's interesting, and it's all about Kai Wynn, who's evil. And it's always good seeing her doing evil things, and she'll do more evil things as the season goes on. Right, what's next? Hey, we've got a runabout. What's next? Heart of Stone. Oh, this is another interesting one, is this? Kira and Odo, there we go, they're in a runabout. They've been somewhere, can't remember where, for something or other. And this is where we learn, in this episode, about Odo's feelings for Kira. Remember, she's single now. She was in a relationship with Bareil, remember, now he's out of the way. Odo thinks he's got a chance, although they don't say that in this episode. Anyway, they're in this runabout, and they end up chasing a Maquis raider into the Badlands, and it ends up crashing on this planet. There we go, they go after him. But then Kira gets stuck in this crystalline stuff, I'm going to show it. There you go. Gets stuck in this crystalline stuff there. And she can't get out. And it's growing as well. And in so many hours, she'll be completely covered with it. And he's got to find a way to get her free. Meanwhile, there's this Mackie. There's a mysterious Mackie person running about. Maybe. She shoots it. Look, it just makes it grow more. What's happening on the station now? What's going on with Quark? Yes, this is the one where Nog. Is this one where Nog decides he wants to join Starfleet? I think it is. He goes to Commander Sisko and wants Commander Sisko to recommend Nog to join Starfleet Academy. Because Nog is fed up with seeing how Quark treats his dad, because Rom's Nog's dad. And Rom's a great engineer. He does become an engineer in later seasons, doesn't he? He becomes part of Chief O'Brien's engineering staff. But obviously Quark treats him like poo. But anyway, so that's what Nog's going to do. He's going to join Starfleet. There we go. That's him asking the commander. There we go. They set Nog to work to see what he can do. Say, inventory, this cargo bay, which he does, and he's really good at it. There we go. She's getting more and more covered up, and they ends up telling Kira that he loves her and all that stuff. He's in love. Don't just love her. He's in love with her, and she's like, I love you too. Anyway, Sisko says, I don't think you really want to join Starfleet Academy, Nog, because, I don't think you'd hack it. And he says, I will. He says, all right, fair enough. I will put your name forward. So he's going to go to Starfleet Academy if he passes the entrance exam. Anyway, the upshot of this is Odo realises that that's not Kira. And he says, who are you? And it turns out it's a changeling, and that the Mackie raider were a changeling. And there you go. It's the changeling, the female one. And she wanted to know, if Odo really wanted to stay with the solids and all that. And now she realises that he does, and that he loves Kira. By the way, Kira's in a stasis thing. The changeling put her in there, out of the way. So anyway, and again, it's reiterated: no changeling has ever harmed another. So anyway. So they just reiterate that because we get into an episode where that happens, and then they go there. So he saves Kira, and off they go. And she says, "Oh, what did the female changeling say?" And all that. Nothing. He doesn't tell her that he loves her. Although they do get together eventually, don't they? But anyway. Anywho, so there we go. That's the end of that one. It's okay. It's not too bad. Yes, Quark forbids Nog to join the academy, but Rom says, no, he's my son, he's proud of him and all that, and it's kind of heartwarming. He's lovely, he's Rom. And he ends up with a fit Bajoran as well, who we're going to meet in a few episodes' time. But anyway, so there we go. That's Heart of Stone. Another good episode. I like that one. An interesting one. Bit of character development and all that, which is what we want, isn't it? Both for Odo and also for Nog. So there we go. And Rom as well. We'll learn more about Rom as well. Right, what's next? What's the next episode? Destiny. This is an interesting one. Yes, this is another good. They'll get better towards the end of the season. Right, some Cardassians are coming to the station, because remember there's a peace treaty with Bajor and Cardassia, so some Cardassian scientists are coming to the station because they're going to try and set up a permanent subspace link between the Alpha Quadrant and the Gamma Quadrant through the wormhole. I can't remember how they're going to do it, but that's what they're going to try and do. They're going to put communication buoys on either side of the wormhole. One's in Deep Space Nine, one's on a platform on the other side of the wormhole. They're going to try and communicate, but without opening the wormhole. I think that's the point of it. But anyway, so that's what's going to happen. But meanwhile, a Vedek comes onto the station, played by Eric Avari. We're going to see him in a bit. There it is. Eric Avari, you may know from Stargate SG-1 and other things, The Mummy, Independence Day, been loads of stuff. But he plays a Vedic who's warning of a prophecy, Trakor's something or other prophecy, saying that when does it say? Hang on, I'll see if I can remember. 3 vipers return to their nest. Just a minute, let me see if it tells us the prophecy. The 3 vipers will cause the temple gates to be cast open and burned. It'll be like a sword of stars and all that stuff. That's what the prophecy says. And he's saying that's what's going to happen. The Cardassians are the 3 vipers. They're there to destroy the wormhole. It's the temple gates where the prophets are. Because that's where the wormhole aliens live, who are the prophets to the Bajorans. But anyway, so he's warning them. Said, don't let the Cardassians come. And Sisko's like, who is the emissary, remember? Says, well, I can't. I've got a job to do. Anyway, so here the Cardassians are here. One of them's Tracy What's-Her-Face. I forgot her name now. Tracy Scoggins, we may know from Babylon 5. She plays Captain Elizabeth Lockley in Babylon 5. Ex-wife of John Sheridan. But she's playing one of the Cardassians. She kind of falls for Chief O'Brien. What do women see in Chief O'Brien? I know he's the most important man in the history of history. But anyway, never mind. It gives hope to us all. Anyway, the scientists are there, but there's just 2 of them. But then we learn that another one's coming. So 3 vipers. So Kira's starting to believe the prophecy. But anyway, there we go. There's the other one arrives. And we see that she doesn't get on with the other 2. The other 2, Tracy Scoggins and this other one. They're kind of nice. The nice Cardassians. That's kind of what this season is about, to show us that not all Cardassians are bad. And these are kind of nice Cardassians. So they're going to help O'Brien sort out this communication stuff to communicate with the Gamma Quadrant. And let's say she kind of falls for him. She says, I am very fertile. And all that stuff. Anyway, right, so they go take the Defiant through the wormhole to the Gamma Quadrant. But there's a comet there. Is it going to show it? Where are we? Something happens, and the comet is going to... There's like some accident, and the comet is like being pulled towards the wormhole. And there's something in the comet, selenium or something like that. I don't know. I thought selenium were the stuff that were in anti-dandruff shampoo. Well, according to the film Evolution, it's what they used to kill the big alien thing, isn't it? Whatever. That's going to destroy the wormhole or something, but it doesn't. There we go. They use a shuttle pod to go through the wormhole, and because they try to destroy the comet, but it doesn't work. But anyway, it turns out the prophecy was about the comet. The 3 vipers were the 3 fragments of this comet, not the Cardassians. And to they did cast open the temple gates, but they didn't destroy it. The selenium or whatever it was in the comet kind of made it as though that it like put a tunnel through the wormhole so that it could communicate, could send subspace signals through all the time. It like open the wormholes like open a crack, but not fully open, so they could send signals to the Gamma Quadrant. Which I suppose is handy, but I don't know if they ever make use of it, really. Maybe they do, I don't know. But anyway, so there we go. An interesting episode and all that. So there we go. Yeah. Cool. Next. What's the next one? What's up with Quark? Is he either being tortured or is it having Umax? Because I can't remember which episode this is. Profit motive. All right, it's this one. Another Ferengi one. Oh no, he's having Umax. All right, so Oaxis wants to sell her 100 gross of self-sealing stem bolts. Are they the same ones that Nog and Jake had? You know, they had the episode, didn't they, where they were doing all this stuff. And they ended up with loads of self-sealing stem bolts, didn't they? But I think my cat's up to something somewhere. Are you being naughty wherever you are? She's lurking. I can hear her. Anyway, so he's going to sell them to this young alien lady. But then there's a knock at the door, or beep, beep, the doorbell goes, and Rom comes in, and it turns out that the Grand Negus is there. Where is he? For Pete's sake, where is he? There he is, the Grand Negus. There's the Grand Negus with Mahadul, or whatever he's called, Tiny Ron. And he's basically, which is he? Look, behave yourself. And he's just taking over Quark's quarters. Anyway, it turns out this episode, what else is happening? Yes, the B story in this episode is Bashir's up for an award, a Carrington Award. It's some medical thing. But apparently Dax submitted him for it, but he's like saying, usually people get Carrington Awards at the end of their careers. And he's only like 29. But anyway, they're all egging him on and saying, yeah, you deserve it for all this stuff you've done. But he's not that keen. That's the B story. The A story is the Grand Negus is up to something. He's changing all the rules of acquisition. And that he's making it all, the rules of acquisition have become nice. So, you know, like, if they want the money back, give it to them and stuff like that. And family is better than Latinum and stuff, you know, rules of acquisition like that. And they're saying he's gone mad. But it turns out he's got an orb. He got an orb off a Cardassian. And he took the orb into the wormhole. Stop saying he's only 29. These characters are supposed to be older than me. Only know he's 29 because in a couple of episodes' time he says he's 30. This is his birthday. So anyway, where were we? Yes, he had this orb and he took it into the wormhole, spoke with the prophets, and they showed him the future. But they've changed him and made him nice. Because apparently the Ferengi haven't always been, you know, obsessed with profit. And they used to be, you know, a nice, gentle race who were kind and all that. But then they changed at some point. So, they've got a dartboard now. As O'Brien and Bashir. Anyway, so Quark says, I've had enough, I'm going to sort it out. So there we go. He checks the orb out and it shows him stuff. So he takes the Grand Negus, takes the Grand Negus into the wormhole and there he talks to the prophets. Aggressive, adversarial, they're all talking like that to him and all that stuff. And we learn that they changed him, so he'd become nice. And he says, no, because billions of Ferengi would be doomed. So sometimes profit is good, sometimes greed is good. He's being all Michael Douglas in this. Gordon Gekko. But so they agree to change, because they were going to make Quark nice. But we'll do the same with this one. But he says, no, just if you do that, more Ferengi will come to find out what happened, and that'll be annoying for you. So they said, yeah, it would a bit. So they said, all right, then we'll change the Grand Negus back to how he was. No harm done. So that's what they do. Bashir doesn't win the Carrington Award, and everything's all back to normal. There we go, and all that. It's okay. It's fine. Entertaining and mildly amusing. Whatever. Doesn't really progress the series much, but it's nice to see the Grand Negus. Quark! I forgot who bloody plays him now. Who plays the Grand Negus? Wallace Shawn. Nice to see him again. Anyway, so there we go. Next. Which is this one? Something's up with Chief O'Brien. Oh, Visionary. Oh, this one. This one's a bit like... This one reminds me... Well, I think they nicked parts of this for that Voyager episode with Harry Kim. But they did it here first. Remember when there's a Harry Kim from another timeline? That one. Windgrace knows. Right, so Chief O'Brien's had an accident. Something is fixing something and it blew up or whatever, and he's had some radiation poisoning. But Dr. Bashir sorted him out and said, don't, light duties for a few days. So he says, fair enough. But then he starts having hallucinations or visions, which is why it's called Visionary. So off he goes. He's on the promenade. Some Klingons have arrived. Some Romulans are coming to the station, by the way, because the I forgot the bloody word. The conditions, that was it. The conditions of them loaning a cloaking device to Starfleet was that Starfleet would share all of its data and everything about the Dominion. With the Romulans. So the Romulans are coming now to be briefed, but there's the Klingons there, and Klingons and Romulans don't really get on, so they've got to keep an eye on them. Here come the Romulans. There they are. So let's get on with the briefing. Anyway, what's going on? We're going to see... there we go. We're going to have a vision... there we go. He's throwing a dart, and there's a flash, and he suddenly sees himself speaking to Quark, and then he looks round. Quark buggers off. He looks round, sees himself, and then he goes bloop, and there we go, disappears. So he's moving through time. I think it's by about 5 hours or something like that. So he has several of these visions. Every time he passes out, he flakes out, and he comes round. He says, I saw myself. And then, anyway, the upshot of it is he sees Deep Space Nine being destroyed. He sees himself be killed. He has a vision, and hang on, where are we? Oh, he sees a fight. He sees a fight in Quark's bar between the Klingons and the Romulans. And then he sees another where are we? Where he sees himself get killed by a phaser beam or whatever it is, disruptor beam, whatever. And then, so we learn that he can change the future because obviously he doesn't die, not by that way anyway. But then he sees the station get destroyed, and each time he jumps, he gets more information. So. Anyway, there we go. Sees the station blowing up. Boom! There we go. Ooh, heck. It's always good to see, the main place get blown up into. Anyway, the wormhole collapses and all that stuff as well. Basically, all goes wrong. So he susses out, say, Dr. Bashir works out a way for him to jump into to go to the future, and see himself, and tell him what to do. So he goes forward. He says, "Look, we've got work to do. The station's going to be destroyed, so we've got stuff to do." But he's dying. All the radiation now that's in his system is killing him. So he says, "You've got to send you back." He says, "No, I can't do it anymore." By the way, they learn that there's a quantum singularity orbiting the station, and that's causing all this weird stuff to happen. And he says, "I can't. I'm too ill." So he basically sends the future. I think it's from like 3 hours in the future. O'Brien sends him back. He says, "Tell them what to do." We learn that it's a cloaked Romulan warbird that's causing all these troubles, and that the Romulans are going to destroy the station. So he does that. So it's like the Harry Kim now, that we're a Harry Kim from, 15 minutes in the future, something like that. This is O'Brien from 3 hours in the future. He's gone back. Tells them what to do, tells them there's a Romulan warbird and all that. So that's all sorted, and the station's saved. But they've got a different O'Brien now. There we go. And so he's from 3 hours in the future, so he knows ish what's going to happen for 3 hours. For 3 hours, doesn't he? And he said, but Dr. Bashir's, he's saying, I don't really feel I belong here. He says, well, no, you're the same O'Brien, but you just got a few more memories than he had. So, but it'd be weird, wouldn't it? Because he's out of time, essentially, but only 3 hours. But it must be weird. But anyway, so there we go. So, is he the real O'Brien? Who knows? But anyway, that's that. Yeah, a good episode. I did like that one. A fun one. Right. Now, is this the one? Oh, no, it ain't. Where are we? Distant Voices. Oh, yes, it's this one. Right, this is a Dr. Bashir episode, is this one. He gets attacked by a Lethian, I think he's like that, this weird alien, wants to buy some biomimetic gel off him. There he is. He wants to buy some biomimetic gel. He says, no, you can't, that's illegal. So he goes and steals it anyway. There we go. Catches him stealing it. So the Lethian zaps him with his hand buzzer. And so Julian Bashir's knocked out. But then when he comes to, there we go. Everything's changed on the station. There's nobody about. And we soon learn that this is one of those episodes where I think they do it again, don't they, in a later season? I'm sure they do. I think they do it in the one where they go into Sloane's mind, don't they, when we get to the Section 31 stuff. But anyway, whatever. It's basically he's unconscious, and the station has become his mind, and the people that are in it, the main cast and that, Quark and Odo, and well, the main cast and Garak, are facets of his subconscious. But he's also aging. He's getting older right quickly. His hair starts going grey and all that stuff. But anyway, so yeah, he's got to find a way to save himself, essentially. And that's what he does. But he's getting older and older, but they sort him out. And it turns out, he's fine. He wakes up and everything's okay. And there we go. A bit of a slight episode, but, not terrible. But he's okay. It turns out the Lethian were just captured instantly. You seem to think he's this super bad, evil person, but, he was just basically just a thief that just zapped him. And it turns out he's all right in the end, and it were all a dream. But anyway, so there we go. Yeah, not a terrible episode. I didn't mind it, and he was actually quite good in it. His acting's getting better now. Siddig El Fadil, but yeah, not the best, but not the worst. It's all right. It's not a bad episode. It's not bad. It's a filler. It's definitely a filler episode. Anyway, moving on. What are we up to next? What was that one? Distant Voice. Right, Through the Looking Glass next. This is the one where Cisco goes to the mirror universe. What are they up to? I don't know. They're talking about stuff. Don't care. Right. What's his face? O'Brien comes into ops, pulls a phaser on Cisco, says, go to the transporter. Turns out it's not O'Brien, it's Smiley from the Mirror Universe. It's worked out a way to use the transporter to get to the Mirror Universe. Remember in Crossover, they went through the wormhole, didn't they? And had a weird thing happened in the wormhole, and they ended up in the Mirror Universe that way. But obviously in the original Mirror episodes from the original series, that were a transporter accident that sent into the Mirror Universe. So that's what they're recreating here with the transporter. So he's kidnapping Cisco, is O'Brien. And there we go, the beam aboard. there we go. That ship, which is kind of cool looking, I must admit, because apparently the Cisco from their side, from the Mirror Universe, has been killed. The Cardassian alliance, Cardassian Klingon alliance, has killed him. So they need him. They need Cisco to do something for him. All right. They found that there we go. That Professor Cisco, who was Benjamin Sisko's wife as well, in the Mirror Universe as well. The odds. She's making a weapon that will allow the Alliance to wipe them out. They find their bases in the Badlands and wipe them all out. Because there's a resistance now, a Terran resistance against the Alliance. So they want him to go to blimey. They want him to go to Terok Nor, as it's called in this, to go there and rescue Jennifer. So that's what they're going to do. Right, so there she is. Notice it's the Mirror Universe. She's got the picture of the Terran Empire or whatever. Like North America, South America. There, it's not reversed. Star Trek Discovery. Oh, God, it got me dead mad. Did that? It's only called the Mirror Universe. Everything's not reversed, not in the mirror image. Anyway, whatever. Right, so that's where we learn that she's this scientist making these weapons and stuff for the Alliance, but she's still technically a slave, I suppose. We meet Tuvok. Is this the first time when did Voyager come out? I don't know. Is this? I'm going to check. Just bear with me. When did this episode air? April 15th, 1995. Star Trek Voyager. First, yeah, quite a lot. Oh, that's UK. That's no good, is it? January 1995. It was released. Voyager. Fair enough. I wonder if we saw Tuvok here before we saw Voyager, but Voyager had been out for a few months when this episode aired. But we see Tuvok and Rom and Bashir. They're in a resistance base in the Badlands. Anyway, and that's where we see that Cisco is in a relationship with Dax. Way! So I think in this episode, he conquers Dax, if you know what I mean, and Kira as well. Sure he does. But look, I think they do get it on. I'm sure they do. Bet they do. I mean, can't blame him, can you? I would as well. I think lie back and think of England, Ben. Garak's a baddie in this one, and he says it's my favourite line of his later. But anyway. So he's got to go and get Jennifer, and here he is convincing the others about that. So off he goes. Basically, they get themselves captured. There he is snogging the intendant, and I think he's going to, sort her out, if you know what I mean, as well. But anyway, there's also a thing earlier on with Rom where it looks as though Rom has sold them out. I think it might have been earlier on. Rom sold them out, but it wasn't. It were all a ruse. It were all part of the plan for him for them to get in and get Jennifer and persuade her to join them, which they do. So anyway, so there we go. So anyway, so they start making their escape. There we go. There's a running battle, and you're gonna say it in a minute. Is it this bit?
I hate to be kept.
Not yet. Hang on. Here we go. Come on, say it. Come on, say it. Come on. Pursue! Don't know what it's anything like that. But. Anyway, so they chase them. They went to they had the ship that they were gonna get, but they find that Rom's there. They've killed Rom of the baddies, and so they've got to find another way out, which they do. Yes, they're going to blow up the station or whatever because Cisco knows the command codes. Why would it have the same command codes? I don't know, but in the mirror universe, but it does. But then he's changed them, so the station's going to blow up. So he says, "Give us a ship, and I'll tell you the new codes when we get away." So that's what they do. And Jennifer goes with them. There we go. And so he's going to go back home, and but he's seen Jennifer one last time, except it's not. I think he will see her again. Yes, he does see her again. And there we go. That's the end of that. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine. It's a mirror episode. Yeah. What can I say? It allows the actors to play against type, which is okay. Apart from they're all different. Apart from O'Brien, who's exactly the same. Why is O'Brien? Is that why he's the most important person in the universe? In every universe, is he the same? Is he like the anchor? Pardon me, for all universes. Probably. That's why he's got a statue of him, I suppose. I imagine. Anyway, so there we go. So that's that one. Cool. I think when we see him again, we do have another Mirror Universe episode. Is there just one more after this? Because they're building their own Defiant, aren't they? I think it's that one. With Jennifer and that. Because I think Jake crosses over next time, doesn't he? I think. But anyway, that's not this season. So there we go. So that's that one. That's fine. A decent episode. And say Ben scores with both Dax and Kira in that episode. It's kind of suggested. He's a Nexus being. Yes, he is. Is there two more? I can't remember. Another the one where they do the Defiant, isn't there? But I can't remember any others. Anyway, moving on. What's next? What is next? We get Mirror Barely, episode 2. I can't remember. Anyway. Anywho, next we're on a two-parter, but it's not officially a two-parter. We've got Improbable Cause and The Dice Cast, which is kind of it is a two-parter, but it doesn't say. For some reason, they've got different title names. Anyway. Mirror Burial. Oh, right. I wonder what you're on about. Burial. Yeah, we do, don't we? But I can't remember what happens in that. Yes, I do remember, but can't remember what happens in it. Anyway, whatever. Right, so here we are with Garak. Having lunch with... I think this is where we learn that he's 30, is it? Or is that later? Is it? No, I don't think it's this one. I think that might be a later episode. Anyway, whatever. His shop. Garak's shop blows up. There we go. So they got to work out who's tried it. They think it was deliberate. It was an assassination attempt on Garak, and they don't know who it is. I think it's the Obsidian Order, probably, but we don't really know. So an investigation begins. They find this Flaxian, who they think is an assassin, but they can't prove it. But to think he was sent, they think by the Romulans to murder Garak. They even ask the Romulans, and they say, because the Flaxian, his ship blows up as he leaves. The Romulan says, yes, we killed him, because he were wanted in Romulus. There we go, that's what they're talking to her. Odo goes to, he's got contacts in the Cardassian government, so he goes talks to his contact, who says, I have changed my face since we spoke last. I don't know if it's something we've seen before, I don't know, but anyway, so we get another hint that stuff's going on. It says, the thing with Garak's shop is a a small part of a larger puzzle, which we learn it is. And so anyway, so stuff, things are afoot, mysteries and all that stuff. And we learn that we learn that other people have died. 5 other people have died. That were all agents of the Obsidian Order, and and Abrantane's missing, who was Garak's mentor. Later we learn is his father, or is he? I'm not entirely sure. They kind of suggest that he is. They do say he is, but it's still kind of a little bit vague, Is he? Maybe. I don't know. Anyway. So he's going to go and rescue. In Abrantane. So they're heading out. Off they go. I think they're heading. Are they going to the Arias system? I think they're heading to the Arias system. Does it tell us there? Can't tell. But anyway, they get intercepted. Romulan warbird decloaks, beams aboard, takes them aboard the Romulan. And this is where they find there's an Abrantane's there, and we learn that the fleet that were being built in the Araya system were a joint operation between the Romulan Tal Shiar and the Cardassian Obsidian Order, and they're going to go to the Gamma Quadrant and wipe out the Founders and destroy the Dominion. And Abrantane says, "Come with me, Garak. I'm happy you're alive. Eat." By the way, we're an Abrantane that killed all the other people that had worked under him, because he basically cutting all ties, burning his bridges after him. That's the phrase he uses. So that's why. But he says, now Garak's there. Come with me. We'll make a great team. So Garak says, "Okay, I will." But obviously Odo can't leave because he's a changeling, and they want to question him. But there we go. He says, "It doesn't matter. I am back. To be continued." And it is in The Die Is Cast. By the way, this is a good 2-part, by the way. Really, really good. Right. That's telling us what's gone on. Now we're at it. Right, so what's going on? Can't remember. Don't know what they're looking at. Yes. All the ships are coming, aren't they? Yes, they're going to the Gamma Quadrant. All these ships decloak, Cardassian and Romulan ships. They're going to show it. There they are. Look, Keldon class Cardassian ships. I can't tell the difference between them and Gala class. They all look exactly the same. But anyway, they're headed into the wormhole. So anyway, that's what they're doing. Anyway, so they're heading to the Amarian Nebula, because that's where they know, because of Odo told Starfleet that's where the that's where the Founders were. And obviously Starfleet shared the information with the Romulans. By the way, there's Leland Orser, who's been in loads of Star Trek stuff and loads of other stuff. He usually dies in whatever he's in. He seems to, anyway. But anyway, not in this. He plays a colonel somebody or other. So anyway, the upshot of it is Garak has to torture Odo. And Abrantane has told everybody, sent a message out saying that we're going in, we're going to wipe out the Founders and all that stuff. And Starfleet's, not sure what to do. They said we should basically just wait and see what happens. But obviously, and he orders Ben, not to do anything stupid, which Ben is about to do. He's going to take the Defiant into the Gamma Quadrant and go looking for Odo and Garak. Anyway, so and Garak is ordered basically to interrogate Odo for any information they might have on the Founders. The Defiant is sabotaged. What's his face? Eddington. He sabotaged it under orders from the Admiral, because obviously they're not supposed to go. But Cisco says, well, we are doing, Chief, get it fixed. And we're sitting ducks, because they're not cloaked anymore. And, any Jem Hadar could come along and sort them out. And we're going to restrict Eddington to quarters. But he says, well, if anything happens, you need a security officer. Says, okay, fair enough. He was just following orders. So he stays on the bridge. But said, I'd stay out of the Chief's way if I were you. Right, so he's going to torture Odo now for information. He's got a device that prevents Odo from going into his liquid form, reverting to his liquid form. And we know that he's got to every 16 hours or whatever, he's got to revert into his liquid form. He says, what will happen if you can't? And he says, I don't know, so we're going to find out. Oh, look, he goes all flaky. He says, just tell me anything, and I will end this torture. Tell me anything. He says, I want to go home. He says, you can go back home to Deep Space Nine when this is all done. He says, no, I want to go home to my people. He says, but you've rejected them. He says, I know, but they're my people and I want to be with them. So he lets him, there we go, he turns off the machine, and obviously he's not happy about what he had to do with Garak. Look, he's got his head in his hands. He's ashamed of what he did. Anyway, so they arrive at the Amarian Nebula, the planet where the founders live, and they open fire. Hang on, in a minute. There we go. Pew pew pews, photon torpedoes, etc. But there's no change in the life form readings. The detected life form readings on the planet, and they open fire, and the crust will turn to dust or whatever. No change in the life form readings. It's a trap, because 150 Jem'Hadar fighters come out of the nebula. Here we go, and start shooting at them. And it's a rout. And so the colonel, what's his face, heads to engineering. Garak sneaks out and he's going to escape with Odo, because the runabouts in the shuttle bay or whatever. But then the colonel appears, says, you'll need this to get to your runabout. And says, oh, why are you helping us? Says, because no changeling has ever harmed another. So it turns out he's a changeling, is the colonel. We're all part of the plan. They learned of Enabrantain's plan to wipe out the founders, and did everything they could to get it this far so they could wipe out the Obsidian Order and the Tal Shiar. And so there we go. So that were the founders' plan. Anyway, so they get away. Garak goes back for Enabrantain, but he doesn't want to go. Enabrantain doesn't want to go. Odo knocks out Garak and takes him away. And then we see, look, Tain's warbird blowing up. But, spoilers, Enabrantain's not dead. Obviously, they got him out. Must have beamed him out or something. Because we see him again later. Not this season, in a future season. Anyway, they've got away. The Defiant arrives. We see how the Defiant acts against Jem'Hadar ships. Handles itself well. To get Odo and Garak out of there. And off they go, back to Deep Space Nine. Pew, 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 pew. There we go. Cool stuff. Pew, 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 pew. Blowing stuff up, left, right and centre. But off they go. Get us out of here. And there we go. And they get back to the station. And everything's lovely. He gets a bit of a telling off, does Ben, for disobeying orders from the Admiral. And he says, if you do it again, I'll have to punish you or court-martial you or promote you. Either way, you're in trouble. It's kind of a bit of foreshadowing for later. But anyway. So there we go. Oh my, Garak's gone back to his shop. And now we learn that they're kind of friends now, Odo and Garak. He says, we should have breakfast sometime. So I didn't think you ate breakfast, Odo. He says, I don't. So there you go. suppose it's kind of an understanding, I suppose. Odo wanted to go home to his people, but he can't. Garak wanted to go home to his people, but he can't. So the two different peas in the same pod, I suppose you could say. So anyway, so there we go. And Andrew Robinson is amazing, and no, Garak's not gay, Andrew. I've reached me 8,000 steps. I haven't been anywhere. Because I wave my arms about. So there we go. Great 2 episodes. I really like them. Improbable Cause and the Dice Cast. Great 2 episodes, them. Because they've got a space battle in, which is what we all want. Right, what's next? We're getting there. We're getting near the end now. Oh, it's Explorers next. Oh, it's this one, yes. Yeah. The main story of this one is that Ben Sisko finds the plans of a Bajoran solar sailing ship that he's going to build from like 800 years ago. And they think that Bajoran astronauts used it to get to Cardassia, 800 years ago when Cardassians, didn't have warp technology and all that. And neither did we. But so he's going to build that. The USS Lexington is arriving at Deep Space Nine, which we also meet Lita, the lovely Chase Masterson. Is it Masterson or Masterton? I can never remember. Just bear with me. Masterson. Met her, got her autograph. She's lovely. But anyway, she obviously fancies Bashir. She's feigning illness just so she can see him, and so he's all for it because Dax comes along and tells him that the Lexington's arriving. So he says, "Oh, here's that information you wanted." And he says, "Go away," because he thinks, "Well, hey, I'm in with a Darbo girl." So anyway. So she tells him also that Elizabeth Lenz is on the USS Lexington, and she was the one who got valedictorian. Is it valedictorian? Whatever. The top marks, top place in Julian's class. He got second place, didn't he? Or did he get salutatorian or something like that? Because he mistook a post-ganglionic fibre for a pre-ganglionic nerve or whatever. Which we learned he got it wrong on purpose, because in that episode, which I just skimmed through, the one where it were on Deep Space Nine, but were all in his mind, distant voices, we learned he didn't want to be best at anything. We learned he could have been a professional tennis player, and that he could have got top marks, but for some reason, it was always okay being second best. We learn really why he's like that in a future season. But anyway. But now he's nervous about meeting Elizabeth Lenz. So anyway, so there we go. And he's got his beard now. Yes, this is where we see Sisko with his beard. He hasn't shaved his head yet. That's not till season 4. But he's got his beard. Which I think is wanted. I think Avery Brooks been wanting his beard, hasn't he, since season 1? Because I think he naturally, he had a beard, didn't he? That was his favourite facial accoutrement. But they wouldn't let him have it until season 3. Anyway, so there we go. That's the solar sailing ship. He's going to build. It's going to be fun. You should help me and all that stuff. Blah, blah, blah. Right. So anyway, what's going on? So he's built. There we go. He's building the solar sailing ship, and it's fun. Builds it in no time at all, and he's building it the way that the Bajorans built it 800 years ago. And they're all saying, "Why don't you use the replicators?" No, I'm doing it the way the Bajorans did it, and he does it in no time at all. Anyway. He wants Jake to go with him, but Jake says, "I can't really, I've got plans." But then he does go. We learn that Jake has got a communication from a school in New Zealand. Anyway, so off he goes, off they go in their solar sailing ship. There it is. Hang on. Oh, for Pete's sake. There it is. There it goes. Oh, for Pete's crying out loud. There they go. Off in their solar sailing ship through the Denorius belt. There we go. And no, it's not Count Dooku. Right, so this is where we learn that Jake's a writer. And he gives Ben a story he's written. So he says, read that. Okay. And so that's where he tells him he's been offered a scholarship at the Pennington School in, I think it's Pennington, in New Zealand, obviously on Earth. So there we go. And he says, oh, that's cool. He says, I'm not going to go. I can defer it for a year. He's going to stay on the station for another year. I wonder if his contract were up. Is it Cyril Lofton? I don't know. But he stays to the end anyway, doesn't he? I don't think he ever goes to that school, does he? I don't think he does. Becomes a journalist, doesn't he? For the Federation News Service or something. But anyway, whatever. For some reason, O'Brien and Bashir are singing Jerusalem. I don't understand why O'Brien, an Irishman, a proud Irishman, would be singing Jerusalem about England's green and pleasant land. Whatever. It's the 24th century. Put it all behind it. They're getting drunk. Julian is, because he's fed up because Elizabeth Lenz just walked past him. She didn't even acknowledge him. But anyway, he does end up going and talking to her. In a minute. Right. Anyway, something happens. They're heading. Something happens, and they end up going at warp. Look, they get caught in some tachyon eddies, and they end up going at warp. I don't know what warp. I presume warp 1. I don't know. I'm guessing Cardassia is really, really close to Bajor, but anyway, closer than like we are to like Alpha Centauri. I'm guessing Bajor's like, I don't know, like a light year, maybe less, I don't know, from Cardassia. I don't know. Anyway, there they are. They're at warp, look, in their rickety old sailing ship. But they're fine. They're fine. Meanwhile, on the station, there we go, he's watching Elizabeth Lenz. He goes over and talks to her. He says, we were in the same class together. I'm Julian Bashir. She says, I thought you were Andorian. He says, no. And did we think, well, Julian Bashir is not a very Andorian name, is it? He says, no, we're at a party and somebody pointed out an Andorian. He said, that was Julian Bashir. And he says, yes, I was at that party with my friend who is an Andorian. And she says, oh, all these years I thought you were somebody else. Which is why she didn't ignore him, she just didn't know who he was. But I thought they were in the same class. How big was the class? Anyway, I don't know. You'd have thought she'd have known him, wouldn't you? Especially as he got second place. But anyway, whatever. Anyway, they seem to become friends, and she's kind of jealous that he leads this exciting life on Deep Space Nine while she's on the Lexington. Yeah, she's exploring, but she can't do any real in-depth work. Moving from system to system. She's just got to make do with what she got. Anyway, right, and the upshot of this episode is they get to Cardassia. There we go. Some Cardassian ships arrive with Gul Dukat. And says, congratulations, you've arrived at Cardassia. And says, oh, cool. And that also just coincides with Cardassian archaeologists finding wreckage of a crash site from 800 years ago, something like that. That we can celebrate that the Bajorans reached Cardassia many, many years ago. And it's all cool. And there we go. And they set fireworks off in space. And there we go. It's all right, it's Explorers. It's a bit of fun. And again, showing that the Cardassians aren't all bad. But it's all going to change, isn't it? Eventually. But anyway, moving on. What's next? Family business. All right. Oh, that's where I think we're introduced to Cassidy Yates. Oh, because I think in Explorers, Jake mentions about a freighter captain, Captain Yates, that Jake wanted being a matchmaker for Ben and Cassidy Yates, but we don't see her yet. Do we see her in this episode? I can't remember. Anywho, right, so there's Ben cutting carrots and stuff. But the main plot of this episode, pardon me, is the bar gets closed because liquidator Brunt, Jeffrey Coombs, arrives. There he is. Because Nog and Rom, well, not Nog for Rom and Quark go back to Ferenginar to deal with his mother, Ishtar, their mother Ishtar, as accused of making profit, because females aren't allowed to acquire profit. So she's broken Ferengi law, so they've got to go back and deal with that. So anyways, off they go to Ferenginar. What's the B story? Is this the Cassidy Yates one? Yes, because everybody's asking him about, have you met Cassidy Yates yet? And he's like, no, not yet. For some reason, hang on, where are we? There we go. Ferengi are like hobbits. They live in a hobbit hole with round doors. Look. So when they haven't got Leonard Nimoy singing his song. Anyway, right, so they've got to deal with Moogie, and she appears all fully clothed. There she is, look. She appears fully clothed, and they're all like, oh, what you got your clothes on for? Because Ferengi women, females, aren't allowed to wear clothes. Because I think they're classed as property out there in Ferengi culture. But she's her own woman. You know, it's woke, Ferengi wokeness. They're trying to break into Quarks to get their dartboard back. Don't know why. They just are. But anyway. Quark and Moogie, they call her Moogie. That's her nickname. Have a big row. She won't give the money back. She won't, sign a confession and all that stuff. He finally meets Captain Yates. There she is. I forgot who plays her now. Penny Johnson. You may know from The Orville and 24 and loads of other stuff. She was good in 24. She was a baddie, wasn't she? She was the president's wife. She was a right bad. But anyway, that's by the by. So they finally meet, and obviously we know they're going to fall in love. Anyway, Quark sorts it all out with his Moogie. But it's Rom really that tips the balance, because he makes Quark realise, that he loves his Moogie, and she realises that she's got to give back the profit that she made and sign a confession and all that, and so. Because if she didn't, I think basically Quark he'd have to pay all reparations, and it'd ruin him. So obviously she's not going to let that happen. So she owns up, but it turns out she's not. She's kind of been duplicitous, and she doesn't give her all the money back because she's hidden loads of it. So she's going to carry on making profit because she's naughty. But Anyway, so they're having a coffee. They're not having dinner. They're having a coffee, and she's a bit preoccupied. Is Cassidy, and the upshot is that she's waiting for a transmission from her brother on Cestus 3. Obviously, the Gorn have given up their claim to that planet. On Cestus 3, where he plays baseball, so that makes Cisco all excited. So he's going to go with her, and they're going to have a date listening to a baseball game. Anyway, they get sorted out, and there we go. So there we go. It's all nice and lovely. The Ferengi family, all happy again. Blah blah blah. The end. All about relationships, that episode, wasn't it? Family relationships and romantic relationships. It's all right. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. We're getting near the end now of this season, so they always like throw in episodes. You want it to be building to an exciting climax, but they just like, throw in these weird episodes, don't they? But it's all right. Didn't mind it. Moving on. What we up to now? Are we getting there? Shaka is this one. Not when the walls fell. Not that Shaka. Which is this one? Is this where he's in the zone? Oh, Brian's in the zone, yes. And I don't know. They keep going about him being in the zone. He can't lose at darts for some reason. And I was thinking something's got to be up here then. It's got to be some alien influence or something or some subspace field or whatever. Some technobabble that's going to explain why he's in the zone. But it doesn't. He's just in the. He's just really good at darts for some reason for a while. But anyway, Kira is still remembering Berail. That's she's got like a funerary flame, remembering Berail, whatever how you pronounce it. But anyway, what's the face is coming to the station. Kai Wynn is coming to the station, and she's come to ask. Kira to go and talk to Shakar. Does he have? Do we ever know his full name? Does it say? Hang on, let me check. No, it just says Shakar. Do we not know his full name? Just bear with me. Shakar Eden. Oh, there we go. Shakar Eden. I mean. To go and talk to Shakar because apparently he's become a farmer in the same province where she's from, and the government have lent him some land reclamators to help with his crops and all that stuff. But they want him back for this other project, which is going to help all of Bajor, according to Kai Wynn. Oh, by the way, the head of the provisional government has just dropped dead from a heart attack. I suspect Kai Wynn probably had him killed. Doesn't say that, but he just died in his sleep of a heart attack. I bet she had something to do with it. I wouldn't be surprised. And Kai Wynn has become the leader of the provisional government. So, but obviously they have no separation of church and state, do they? But anyway, so she arrives here, there we go, on the station, and asks Kira to go down and talk to Shakar and persuade him to give up the reclamators. So off she goes down to Bajor, and we see that the land's not good. It's all very dry, which is what they need the reclamators for. And here we meet Shakar. There he is. If you recognise him, he's the ghost alien man, Beverly Crusher's ghostly boyfriend from Sub Rosa. In here, he's playing Shakar. Well, I think he becomes Kira's partner, doesn't he? Her lover, I think. Sure he does, doesn't he? Anyway. But not yet. So, anyway, the thing is, we learned that they were given the replicators by the government, loaned them, they said, for a year. They've only had them like 2 months or something like that. But said the government said you can have them for a year. But obviously, with the change of government, all that's changed. But it says we can't give them back. We've got to you. As crops will fail and all that stuff, we need them. So we're not giving them back. And so Kira says, well, talk to Kai Wynn and all that, and I'll arrange a meeting. But Kai Wynn's not happy about that. She goes to talk to the Kai. Just talk to him. But Kai Wynn has no intention of talking to him. So basically, she sends in the troops. They were going to come in to arrest him. So they have a fight and run off into the hills. So basically now, Kira is AWOL. She's run off with these people into the hills. They all used to be part of the resistance against the Cardassians. So now they're desperados. They're on the run. The authorities are after them. He's still on a roll on his, what do you call it? He's in the zone, but then he hurts his arm, and I thought he'd done it on purpose, so he didn't have to be. Because obviously Quark's putting bets on him, and running a betting thing, and I thought he'd done it on purpose, but it turns out he hasn't, and he has to have his shoulder replaced. His rotator cuff and all that stuff's gone. So he can't, he's not in the zone anymore. Cisco talks to Kai Wynn, tries to, get her to be reasonable. But we all know, she's overreacting. Ben Cisco tells her that she's overreacting. And she's basically not a good leader. She's evil, and she just wants power. That's basically it, isn't it? That's all she's after. And she will flex muscles, military muscles, to get what she wants. So she sends soldiers in, essentially just to kill other Bajorans. Civil war looms. But it turns out cooler heads prevail. They won't shoot on fellow Bajorans because they're going to ambush the soldiers that are sent after them. They'll just go and talk to them instead. And they basically talk them round. They say, this is all wrong. We shouldn't be fighting each other. Why can't we just get along? And he agrees, and they all go back to see Kai Wynn. Here we go. And they say, you're going to step down. You're not going to be the leader. And Shakar's going to they're going to have an election, and he's going to essentially be the next leader of Bajor, essentially. It's a coup, for want of a better word. And so Kai Wynn steps down and ends up back in Shakar. So there we go. All right, and she blows out the flame of remembrance for Berail. How do you pronounce it? Berail. So she's there we go. So she's put that behind her now. She doesn't have to worry about Berail anymore because she's going to be with Shakar or Odo. I don't know who's first. But anyway, there we go. It's okay, that episode. I didn't mind that one. Nice of them to be out and about and off the station, actually filming somewhere in real life and not in a set. So I suppose that was nice for them. But yeah, cool stuff. Right, next. Hang on, I did the wrong thing there. Facets next. Wasn't a fan of this episode, to be honest, because it's about it's Dax's blooming other hosts again. But first, we're seeing Nog practicing flying a shuttle or whatever. He's getting ready for his Starfleet Academy entrance exams. That's what he's doing. He's on the holosuite, obviously. There we go. So that's that. And then we learn that she's going through her... I forgot what they call it. It's got a Z in it. Jantara. There we go. Going through a Jantara ceremony. Where... Do they do it just once, then, in the life? They must do. Where they get the chance to meet their past hosts. A guardian, a Trill guardian from the symbiont pools comes to see him, and he must be psychic or something. I don't know. It doesn't really explain it, but it creates like a psychic connection. And friends volunteer to get the memories of the symbiont, or memories of the past host. Not of the symbiont, of the past host, put into them, taken out of her, put into them. It's not very Star Trek. It's a bit, ooh, wah, woo, wah. But anyway, so all the friends agree to do that. So that's what they're going to do. And Cisco's going to have the memories of Jiran. Jiran. But anyway, so there we go. For some reason, she's decided to help, even though she's only been in it 5 minutes. But they're all her closest friends. She's only been in one of the brief part in a previous episode, but never mind. Obviously, they were short of a character. Anywho, so there we go. So they're all happy. They're going to do that. Apart from Quark, who's not quite so happy, but you know, he ends up saying yes. So that's what they do. So there we go. He's doing his entrance exams and he fails. But we learn that Nog failed because Quark sabotaged the test. So he takes it again and passes. But anyway, so here we go. They're showing them doing this Jintara. Kira's gonna host the first host. Don't ask me the names. I've no idea. But it takes the memories. Like I say, it's all. Ooh. I'm sure it's all scientific. But anyway, make sure we're still going. Yeah, we are. So she becomes that host for a while, and then she goes back. And it's all nice, let's say. It's all nice. We all meet the previous hosts, and they're all got different personalities, blah, blah, blah. We learn why Jadzia walks with her hands behind her back because of her and all that. And there we go. O'Brien has another host who's all nervous. Who's next? Lita, another host. Is she the? Yeah, she's the one that was a gymnast. Luckily. And then Quark is the host. Oh, another female one. So he didn't know he was going to be hosting the female, but anyway, that's fine. That's fine. And then Bashir is hosting another. So everything's okay. But now they're going to do Duran, and they're doing it in. They're going to put Cisco in a cell. There we go. Behind the force field, because Duran was the murderer, remember, and he's mental. But I thought she made friends with him in that episode. She hugged him and he disappeared, and it were all nice. But in this one, he's all evil, and he's he's being horrible, and then he starts doing things with the force field, headbutting it. There you go. That's headbutting the force field. Saying, Benjamin, take control. Boing, boing. There we go. But he takes control. She lowers the force field and he says, fooled you. But then Benjamin takes control again, and it's, says, it's fine, old man. And then there's just Odo left, and Odo's going to host Curzon Dax, the last host before Jadzia. That's going to be the real problem of the episode. Not Duran, it's going to be Curzon. So there we go. And because he's a changeling, he kind of turns into Curzon Dax a bit. Because of his changeling nature, it affects him differently. And this is a bit like Tuvix a little bit. Because he doesn't want to become Odo again. He wants to stay as Curzodo. Odo Zan. I don't know, but he wants to stay like that. So there goes, Benjamin. So there we go. I couldn't do this. I don't have enough friends. Same here, mate. Thank God I'm not a trill. I just have to grab people off the street. So that's it. He decides he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to go back. He wants to stay like that all the time. And so they've got to talk him into, going back into because Curzon belongs with the symbiont, with Jadzia, doesn't he? But he doesn't want to be. And Cisco says, Curzon, he was an amazing man and a great man, but he was stubborn and foolish at times, and he needed a good talking to sometimes. You just got to stand up to him. So she stands up to him, and he decides to go back. But even his clothes look similar to blooming Tuvix's clothes, aren't they? But anyway, never mind. That's 2 episodes this season that they've ripped off in Voyager, haven't they? Anyway, right. So there we go. He's passed his exams to go into Starfleet Academy as Nog, and Rom's all proud, and he had Garak make him a cadet uniform, even though he's not a cadet yet. But never mind. But he's just proud of him. So there we go. So he has a root beer. He orders a root beer. And whacks, it's the end of Ferengi civilization. Anyway, look, he's gone back. Everything's back to normal. But now, Odo has had an insight into, what it's like for the Trill to have all those memories and all that stuff. So and learning about humanoid indulgences basically through Curzon. So there's a new aspect on humanoid life, which is interesting. So there we go. That's the end of that one. Right, and now we're up to the finale, I think, if I do believe correctly, are we? Yes, the adversary. This is a big episode, really, in a lot of ways, because it's the final commander's log. That's what he says. He's thinking, oh, why is it the final commander's log? Because he's been promoted to captain. He's now Captain Benjamin Sisko. Yay! And everybody's happy. And even O'Brien says, to the newest and best captain in Starfleet. So he obviously has no loyalty to Captain Picard. But anyway, so there we go. So everybody's happy. But this ambassador's here, who, does he know him? I don't know, but this ambassador's here. And he's saying there's trouble on the Zenkethi homeworld. There's been a coup, and they think there's going to be trouble. So we've got to send the Defiant to check the Zenkethi border. So off they go in the Defiant. But things are afoot, and we start hearing noises as they set off. Hearing not rustling, but thudding and stuff, as though it's haunted. But it turns out it's not. And there's a changeling on board. We learn. But anyway, Cassidy is Ben and Cassidy's relationship is progressing. O'Brien also did the same thing with Maxwell. Yeah, but he went mad, didn't he? He went with Ben Maxwell of the Rutledge and the Phoenix. But anyway, right. So anyway, turns out there's a changeling on board, and it's sabotaging the systems, and it takes over the Defiant and sends it on a collision course to a Federation colony or something like that. There's a colony it's heading to, and it's going to basically destroy it, or whatever. It's going to do something, or is it going to destroy a Zenkethi colony? Something along those lines. I'm blanking now for some reason. Is it heading for a Zenkethi colony? I forgot what it's blooming doing. Yes, it's going to attack some Zenkethi something or others. They've got to try and stop it, but they can't find a way to stop the thing, the sabotage that the changeling has done. And obviously, they don't. Any of them could be the changeling. So it's like the thing in it. Any of them could be the changeling. But anyway. So they're all paranoid, they don't trust each other, and all that stuff. We learn that Odo doesn't sweat. I always think of Chell from Star Trek Voyager Elite Force. I think we're also in a couple of episodes of Voyager, weren't it? Chell. Obviously it's not him. So also we learn that we know you're not a changeling because you're bleeding, is Sisko. So that's where we learn the test for being a changeling, which doesn't always work, but here they're doing it here. Look, doing this test. So they're all humans, apart from. Hang on, in a minute. Hang on, I missed it. Where is it? Oh, it might have been earlier on. Turned out the ambassador fellow was a changeling. Eddington, Eddington's a changeling. Obviously, he's saying, I'm not a changeling. And it turns out he's not, because the changeling. Hang on. There we go. they find Bashir there behind the force field. The changeling was Bashir. So got to go after him. But the Defiant's still on course, and they said, right, okay, destruct sequence 1, code 1. It don't say that, but they set the auto destruct sequence for 10 minutes. Because they destroy the Defiant before it gets to the Zenkethi border. So O'Brien's got to try and fix the damage. So he's working away, but suddenly we have 2 Odos. Obviously, one of them's the change. Well, they're both changeling. One of them's the baddie changeling. So anyway, they have a fight. There we go. They have a fight. Where are we? All right. O'Brien lowers the force fields that the changeling had activated. So it lowers all the force fields so they can get to all the equipment and fix it all, get control of the ship. And Odo picks up the changeling and throws him into the warp core. Throws him into it, look, and it kills the changeling. So, it's the first changeling ever to kill another. They go, and he whispers something to him, and then turns to dust. Hang on. I missed it. Where are we? No, turns to dust. Like that. So he's killed a changeling, and he gets punished for it, doesn't he, in the next season or so. But they get control of the ship, they deactivate the auto-destruct, and head back to the station, and they have a debriefing and all that stuff. And Odo comes in and said, I should tell you, the changeling said something to me before he died. You're too late, we're everywhere. Jun jun, jun jun. And that's how it ends. On a cliffhanger. So there we go. So that's the end of season 3. So now we've got big changes now for season 4 next time. We've got a new crew member arriving. We've got a new opening sequence with jazzier music and ships and stuff, and Alexander Siddig instead of Siddig El Fadil. But there we go. But that's the end of season 3, which were okay. It were a decent season. Only a couple of episodes I want fans of, like Past Tense and the Luoxana Troy one, and a couple of the others. But for the most part, it were a good season. The best one so far, in my opinion. But it does get better. I think Deep Space Nine really came into its own from season 4 onwards. So that's what we've got to look forward to next time. The Way of the Warrior and all that stuff. Because a familiar face joins the crew. So, right. So that's it. We're done for season 3. Lot of fun. With a couple of boring bits in. Right. We're done and dusted. We will leave it there. So thanks, Win Grace. And Josh Temple and Adam Gamer. Anybody else pop in? I don't think they did they? So let me check on Rumble and make sure there's no messages on Rumble. No, there isn't. So there we go. So we'll leave it there. I'm not telling you. He knows. Right, anyway, so we'll leave it there. So what's coming up next? We're there on Wednesday. Friday, I'll be carrying on my Appointment with Fear, Hammer House of Horror series. And then next Monday we're doing True Lies. Couldn't do it this week because my son was ill. Still is a bit. Had him at doctor's. He's fine. He's just picked up a bug. He's fine. But we'll leave it there. We will leave it there. So thanks for watching, wherever you are. Look after each other. Hang on, let me sort my stuff out. There we go. Look after each other. Live long and prosper. And until next time, I'll see you there.